and Holland.
So this is the lineup, and the countries represented in the final of this men's pairs. Czech Republic on the far side in lane number 1. And let's meet them. Sitting in the stroke seat, Jan Schindler and Jakub Makovica. Young men who were 9th last year and came out of the 4 for the Czech Republic in 2005. A welcome return to World Cup racing to two men who've been together since 1998. Ramon Di Clemente and Donovan Sek for South Africa. Well, they were silver medalists in 2005, but had a disappointing season, didn't make the final last year, Olympic bronze medalists. Owen Perron and Laurent Cadeau for France. In lane 3, hoping to do rather better than they did in Linz. They were disappointed with their 6th place there. And next, the benchmark crew, the older Nixa Skellin, who's in the bow, Sinisa Skellin, the younger, in the stroke seat. And Nixa, it was his back injury really last year that kept them away from being effective. But here are the world silver medalists, Nathan Twaddle and George Bridgewater, gold medalists, like their women's pair back in Gifu in that golden hour of 2005, and just as determined to get back to the top of the world. And Germany, well, Andreas Penkner and Jochen Urban are their representatives. They were 5th last year, both from Dortmund, and a couple of seasons ago, bronze medalists out of the German 8. So that's their pedigree. But these are the men, Skellin and the Skellin brothers from Split. They've been together really since '99, and I don't think you could throw anything at those two guys here because they actually train on the sea.
They're the benchmark for this event. If you want to win a medal in the World Championships, you've got to be beating the Skellins. If you can't beat the Skellins, then you're going to be in the back of the big final or in the small final. They are, as I said, and there they are in picture, the benchmark. But it's the French who are quickest away by half a length in 15 strokes. 100 metres gone, France half a length up. So Cadeau and Perron qualifying through the semi-finals into lane 3 and very clearly setting out their stall.
Well, they made the comment yesterday that the conditions were very, very hard, and they also reiterated their determination to do a whole lot better than they did in Linz.
Here we have a picture of Andreas Penkner, Jochen Urban from Germany over in lane 6, just ahead of lane 5, New Zealand, and ahead of Croatia in lane 4. But it's France absolutely setting the pace and drawing the Di Clemente and Ketch from South Africa along with them. Czech Republic slipping back at this stage.
I know it's early days in the season, Hugh, but on the evidence of what we've seen, the Germans must be, I would thought, slightly concerned, as they are the hosts of the World Championships in Munich, and also that it's the qualifying regatta for Beijing, that these championships at the moment don't look like shaping up to be their finest hour.
No, but you don't know how hard they've kept the foot on the pedal of training through the last few weeks. The 8 didn't come to Linz because it wanted, the 8 that's here, that's in the final, didn't come to Linz because it wanted to spend a bit more time training and prepare itself. They're all under the cosh for training. They come here to test, not necessarily to win. They want to win because that shows that the training is good, but they don't let the pedal up and they can carry a lot of fatigue into these regattas.
Yeah, well, the word we had in Linz, if you remember, was that they were not going well at all. So it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds towards the end of the afternoon. But
there's a long tradition of German 8s quarrelling and arguing among themselves, and I think this is another of those years.
So on the near side here, in the traditional black of New Zealand, Nathan Twaddle and George Bridgewater. And from Auckland Rowing Club, Nathan, George from Carnarvon. And so far so good. They matching the Skellins, but the French, can they keep this going? The French being accompanied now by the South Africans. The two South Africans the most bemedalled partnership in Africa in respect of rowing. Nobody's done what they've done, and they want to come back. They really wouldn't want to have finished their careers with last season. They will want to come back to Beijing and see whether they could improve on that bronze medal.
They certainly will. It's interesting looking at them there. You can see that Donovan Ketch has less of a drawback, less of a layback at the finish than almost any athlete now racing. He's still curved over forward when he flips his hands away.
I have to tell you, Hugh, that I've done in-depth research. I've canvassed every South African I can find, and the general opinion is that it's Sech.
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 I have no doubt. But however, France now being challenged by the 2005 world champions, Nathan George Bridgewater. George Bridgewater at 6'8" and 15 stone is some customer, and he's pulled that boat right up, and I think they're probably leading now, even though the French were at 1,000 metres in front.
And for those of you who don't count in Hugh's money, that's
2 metres.
2 metres 3 and 99 odd kilos.
France looking shorter and shorter, more and more out of sorts, and at a higher and higher rating, actually moving the boat less well and being drawn right back. There we have 2, 3, 4 and 5, the middle echelon in a line.
You could actually see that the synchronicity, or what there was in the French boat, was beginning to fall apart, and I don't think they're going to be in charge for much longer. You can see the South African bow on the far side, near to you in lane 4. That's the Skellin brothers, and then absolutely closest to you are New Zealand. That's Nathan Twaddle and George Bridgewater, and it's virtually a blanket that you could throw over them at the moment. Through the first half of the race, in the third quarter, and going into the final 500 now, and 4 crews up for 3 podium places, and out of it the Czechs in lane 1, and once again another German crew are also struggling here in lane number 6.
They never showed. Penkner and Urban are not racers for these conditions. The New Zealanders are. Bridgewater's got the bit between his teeth. My money's on them over this last 350 metres.
Well, I think the Skellins would handle with this. As I said, you know, they're used to all sorts of conditions. So it'll be interesting to see now whether they can pull this back. But now it is New Zealand. Nathan Twaddle and George Bridgewater who are making their move at this particular moment to try and overhaul. And the Skellin brothers are trying to go with them also on the far side, the South Africans. But it's their first competitive outing in the World Cup. And you've got to say, Hugh, that all credit to Erwin Perron and Laurent Cadeau. It's not pretty, but boy, are they gutsy.
They're still going at what they've been doing all along, and we saw the writing on the wall earlier, but actually they're the ones who are probably going to take silver to the New Zealanders, but it's very close indeed. The parallax there doesn't show you what's really happening.
Yeah, don't write off the Skellin brothers either, because they're beginning to make their impression. They're just getting on terms now with the French, but it is the New Zealanders right in front of our position on the boss barn here, and they're closest to it, and it is the black shirted Nathan Twaddle and George Bridgewater who've got the bow of their men's pair in front as they come towards the line, and it is New Zealand, Croatia and France, the 1, 2, 3. South Africa, they ran out of petrol and they'll finish in 4th place ahead of the Czech Republic, and Germany only 6th.
Germany not even in their lane properly, hitting buoys and things like that, but that was an outstanding performance. Bridgewater looked across, saw what needed to be done, and with Twaddle, who just matches him whatever he does, they set off and left these two exhausted, but after a fantastic race. As you said, it wasn't pretty, it wasn't what you ought to do, it isn't in the textbook at all, but it was really gutsy rowing.
And determined. They said, we don't want to be like Linz, and they weren't. They were much better. And New Zealand, though, that's a real boost. That's their second victory of the season. Of course, the first one going to Duncan Grant in the men's lightweight single sculls from Storm Uru, a 1-2 there, and they've got this victory here in the men's pair.